Hello friends, I am coming to you today with an introductory video and an invitation to join me on my upcoming adventure. I am coming to you from this studio at the Ghost Town Arts Collective in downtown Sherman, and I've mentioned it in previous videos as a small studio that we are setting up to accommodate interviews and photo shoots and things. One of the items to be troubleshot, is the air conditioning in this room. The vent overhead is very loud, so I've been sitting here for a while waiting to make this video until the AC cycled off, and it refuses to do so. So I apologize if that's a pesky white noise in the video. We'll try to find a way to get that solved. Okay, so back to the video at hand. The project that I'm going to tell you about today has been a long time coming, and I may even say that I've had a few false starts with it in the past, or maybe alluded to or said some things that maybe foreshadowed this thing that was coming. One of the things that I notice about myself is that I occasionally get focused on a big picture or something that's to come, and in that space of being future oriented and trying to work out all the different parts of a thing as it's gestating, sometimes I jump the gun. But I'm coming to you today from a really nice new space of excitement and clarity, and there's this calmness that I think I've started to feel in 2020. I think lots of us are feeling it actually. It's kind of a different energy. There's a shift that's happening with all of us, and so I'm really excited to get started with this project. And so, in the absence of a more invigorating title, I'm going to call this project for now the Mindfulness Project. And it's very appropriate. In fact, that may stick. It may be exactly right for what ends up happening with it. But in this introductory video, I'm hoping to accomplish three things. I have notes here, so I keep looking down. First, I hope to orient you all a little bit with regards to what led me to this project. Second, I want to give you a sense of what the project might look like and what you might expect to see in these future video logs. And then third, talk a little bit about the why of this project from my perspective, what it means for me and you, and then we'll go from there. So, first, in a broad stroke sort of way, I would like to recap some experiences that I've been having over the past few years to get you guys oriented on why I'm inspired to start this project. Without going into too much detail, I expect I may go into more detail about some of these things in future videos, so this will just be a broad introduction. But going back, when I was younger, I've always felt like I was a little bit different. I know many of us feel that way. Different people feeling that they're different, and sometimes it's hard to see that it's actually you're feeling different that is a way that you can connect with other people who feel different. It's a bit of a paradox. People called me an old soul. I wasn't always sure exactly how I fit in, or how I wanted to fit in, or where I wanted to fit in, or with whom. I've always been a curious person, curious about the nature of things, curious about the why of things. Why are we here? What are we supposed to do something? Who are we supposed to be? Those kinds of questions. But when I was younger, I think psychologically we all develop to, the first 7 years of our life, we're kind of in an incubator stage, developing a connection with our parents and family, and then after that we start to socialize. And when that process started for me, I developed a way of kind of inhabiting my life experience and the situations I was in a way that looked very focused. I was absorbing life experiences and information, anything I could get my hands on a range of obvious topics. At the same time, there were curiosities and aspects of me that when I was younger I wasn't really addressing when I was coming of age. Talk more about that in a bit. But outwardly it looked like I had my stuff together. I was composed, I was focused, I was on a path, getting an education, college, etc. Once I reached a certain stride, though, I became more and more aware of some of those things that were unsettled within me. And I'm really talking now about the period of time in my 20s. I think a lot of us can relate to that. You get out of college and maybe start working, and during that time I began to explore some more perspectives on spirituality, psychology, metaphysics. That also led to some outward behavior and exploration of the outer world, pushing boundaries and limits a little bit. And then around 2012, I began to deepen that process of self-inquiry. And I feel now as though the process of self-inquiry for me and for many people is going to go on indefinitely. Because I've kind of learned that with each new life experience, with all new information that gets integrated, you have a new perspective, a new point of awareness, and so now there's something new to discover or experience. And so it's like fractal. You're always one step closer to knowing, but you can never really know everything. So I've kind of embraced that reality for me at this point. I've taken a close look at myself from every modality that I could get my hands on. Psychological, physiological, spiritual, professional, social, and relating that to self, my mind, my spirit, my heart, my physical body, the relationship of all of those aspects of myself. Again, I expect to dive deeper into some of those specific aspects in future videos, but the main space where I've arrived now is that I have all this new information here in the beginning of 2020, and I feel a desire to ground it and give it context. And I'm kind of I don't want this to sound too serious to anyone, because I feel this new lightness with all of this. It's almost like the more I learned about myself, and it's not as though there haven't been major struggles and pain, because there have been. I've experienced some really low lows, and again I'll talk more about some of those in appropriate context when the time is right. But it's helped me to arrive at this feeling of lightness. It's like I don't really, from my perspective, there's not a whole lot of serious stuff going on here. But I do feel this new energy and a desire to meet the world in a new way. And a big part of that for me is to become more mindful of how, because I have all these new principles, beliefs, ideas in my mind, and I have them in theory, but I haven't necessarily put them into practice in my life experience. And I kind of want to feel out how to do that. And I guess I'll give myself some grace and credit and say that I think some of that has been happening in my daily interactions with people and in my professional interactions with people. But in many ways, outwardly, I've just perpetuated the momentum of past stuff that I had going on without really fully integrating some of these new ideas. So that's kind of what the framework of this mindfulness experiment is going to be. I expect to look at all of the different aspects of life for all of us, specifically in a culture and a social construct that I'm most a part of. I hope to be a little bit open-minded and broad, but I have a context that I can work with here and that I can share with you guys that maybe you can relate to. So one day we may be talking about metaphysical ideas within the framework of a house or modernist architecture, or even the idea of the architecture of clothing, how it fits with the body. And then the next day we may be talking about sustainable practices and how we can each be more aware of our energetic footprint and where our food's coming from. And then the next day we may be talking about music and art and culture. I want to find ways to make these ideas and metaphysical spiritual principles real and grounded within the context of our experience. I really think this is going to be fun. So, okay, I've touched a little bit what brought me here. I've touched a little bit about what I'm hoping to accomplish. I want to touch a little bit why I want to do this. And I could talk and maybe write several books explaining why. But to try to be succinct, I've kind of boiled it down to its essential elements. One reason that I want to do this is by committing to the idea of these videos and whatever. I may include some writing about some of these ideas and topics in blog format. I'm not sure exactly what all might happen, but by doing that, I'm giving myself a platform for my own focus, because I need that right now. My perception of time is different from how it used to be, and it's really easy for me to just contemplate these things and then not ground them. And then so focus and then accountability is a big deal for me personally. I can get really comfortable spending tons of time alone and quiet and not really engage people. I don't really look for attention or need it or even know what to do with it. It's something I've kind of flirted with in different aspects of my life, vocations I've experienced in the past. And I still don't know. I mean, again, right now there's an aspect of me that says, well, why would you do this? Things aren't really about you. Why is this self-centered or self-focused? And I really think it's not. From my personal intention, like I've always operated from the perspective of, when I engage with someone, what kind of experience are they having? I really don't want this to be about me, but at the same time, I do have a perspective, and we all have perspectives, and you can only operate from the perspective that you have to offer. So, at least for now, I have to start here, and then maybe over time we start to broaden this. Maybe we do interviews, or maybe there are some of you out there that would like to co-create something with me so that more voices are represented. But I hope to become more comfortable with it, become more comfortable in my own skin, expressing what I feel and believe. I really do like good conversation, and I'm hoping that this will lead us to that. I hope the videos will inspire ideas and questions in you. I don't know who you are yet. I think some of you that may watch this have an idea of me. Maybe we have known each other in the past. I am inviting anyone who's ever known me before to join me in this. Just may I ask please to offer me some space to grow and be maybe a little bit different from what you expect from who you knew before, and I will do the same for you. But there are some others out there that I hope to connect with. I hope that you find this conversation interesting and that you join up. I don't even know who you are yet, and then we go on the journey together. So my goal is to be honest and authentic in the videos, even if it is ugly at times. I woke up like this. I didn't shower, so I'm wearing my cap, and I really don't want to micromanage what I look like or how I come across. I'm gonna try to be courageous and brave and be raw in times when that's called for. I think it has the potential to be a really fun adventure, and I can learn from you and you can learn from me. I think that's what we're always doing anyway, whether we acknowledge it or not. So I'm just trying to be more focused and deliberate about it, right? So to recap, self-inquiry has led me to desire to express myself outwardly in a more authentic way. The goal is to be mindful going forward. I'm not always going to be in here. I want to get out and put this in context with projects that I have going on. I have some exciting news about career and some new outside projects that I have in mind that I'll share in upcoming videos. So I think that's a good introduction. I will try not to always be scripted too. I just wanted to make sure I covered what was important for this first one, so I put some thoughts down. I hope that you will let me know what you think too. I really think there's not a whole lot with this that is off limits. So please say whatever you feel or think, or contribute whatever is important to you. And in that way, the experiment will grow and evolve as I kind of take in and integrate the thoughts and ideas and questions that you have. The experiment can evolve, so we can kind of be in it together. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you for watching this far. I hope it sounds fun. I don't know how frequently I'll be doing it. We'll see what happens.